Good morning, friends. It's a little too dark to be filming this video, so let's try something. Well, that worked. Though I traveled in time. Ugh. I feel a little woozy. Reminds me about that time that nail polish almost killed me. This happened almost a year ago when I was at my other school. This incident wasn't why I transferred, but it still was really, really bad. I was stuck with a bunch of freshmen even though I was a sophomore because that was the only place they could put me. I had to get a special accommodation because of my chemical sensitivity. The school already knew about it, and everyone on that dorm knew that I had chemical sensitivity, or at least was at the meeting where we talked about it. So it kind of surprised me when this one girl decided that she was going to have a nail polish party in her room, because that's fun, breathing in toluene. And these rooms are typical dorm rooms, you know, the ones that don't really have good ventilation. I believe our dorm had radiators and no real central heat, so all of that air stayed within the room and then leaked out into the hallway, and then leaked into my room. I just remember smelling this, like, really potent smell of formaldehyde. I just remember it being so strong, and I didn't even open my door. It was coming from, like, underneath the door. Normally something like this, I would go to the RA, and they would do something about it. There was no one in the building. At least no one who knew what was going on. Yeah, there's some other RAs, but they didn't know what my situation was, so they're like, and my lungs started closing up. I started feeling a really bad headache and I couldn't really think straight. Thankfully, I had a friend with me and we were able to drive home, but I was just in so much pain because there wasn't any hospitals open. And I remember calling my mom and I told her what's going on. She's like, just as long as you can get home, we can deal with it here. The key point was that I needed to get out of there, which I did, so that was good, but that was only the beginning. I called my mom and she told me to find some like vapor rub because maybe that would open up my sinuses. At that point, they completely closed out and I was only able to breathe through my mouth. So it's about 11 o'clock at night and I'm only halfway home. I have about 40 minutes to go and we find this Walmart and it was closing. We run up to the door and there's this guy standing in the doorway and we beg him to just let us go in and he's just like, thank you, person. At this point, it's like a race against the clock because I need to get home and get this smell off of me because there was no other way to make it stop. So we finally make it home and I try this like vapor rub. I never used it before. I didn't even smell it when I first put it on and instantly I knew I was screwed because it just made my headache 10 times worse. So I just got a shower to try to wash everything off, but even then it was just so miserable and I couldn't even think straight and it was honestly the worst I have ever felt. If I waited longer or if I had more exposure to that, I could have had my lungs actually close up and that would have been bad. Yeah, what a nice and fun video this is. But after that, I was so sick that I had to take an entire next week off of school, and then it was also fall break right after that, so I had like 2 weeks off for fall break. But all that because a bunch of girls decided they were going to use nail polish. We were trying to figure out how could we prevent this from happening. And while it doesn't stop people from using chemicals, it can just be as effective by getting the word out. Yes, this is an actual respirator. So yeah, this isn't too much of an overreaction. So if someone ever goes overboard, stinking you out with their nasty chemicals, always know you can retaliate with this nice respirator. And I guess you could always use it for Halloween. I'll see you next week.